Okay, hello everyone. My name is Martin Marks. I'm a senior product specialist with Exactal. And Exactal produce a piece of software called CostX. Firstly, just a little bit of background about the company. We have offices based in the UK. We've got two offices, one in Mayfair in London and a further office in Newcastle upon Tyne. We've also got several other offices around the world, for example, Hong Kong, Singapore, Brisbane, Auckland. We have product in over 70 countries around the world. Just a little bit about the product. CostX is a digital sort of takeoff and estimating software application. And it has a universal application ranging from working with hand-drawn sketches, scans of those, PDF drawings, other file formats in 2D, such as DWGs, DWF, together with 3D CAD and 3D BIM files. Some of the key features of CostX, obviously it allows you to work with and extract measurement information from those file formats. The estimating side takes the form of hierarchical spreadsheet-like workbooks into which all of the measurement data is live linked between the estimate, bill of quant, and the drawings or models from which the quantities have originated from. We also have a revisioning capability within the system, which means that when a revised version of a model or a drawing comes out, the quantities can be updated and the live link then updates the workbook. Just in terms of the innovation timeline, Exactal, the company, was formed in 2003, and year on year we tried to bring innovation to the software. In 2006, we introduced the first integration with BIM properties. In 2011, we further enhanced the BIM capabilities, for example, with IFC and Aviva, and the latest innovation was an updated subcontractor comparison and e-tendering system. Some of the Exactal clients using the product: quantity surveyors, Turner and Townsend, Bruce Shaw, ACOM. Some of the major contractors: CISC, BAM, Brookfield, and some of the other names that you see on there. We also have a strong educational programme, and there are a number of universities, both in Ireland and in the UK, who utilise our product as part of their course and curriculum, and also students can obtain a copy of CostX as well. So just some of the universities there. DIT, obviously, LIT as well, Northumbria University in the UK. So CostX sort of value adding. Obviously, cost is one of the major performance matrix for any sort of building. The ability with CostX to very quickly extract dimensional quantity information from 2D and 3D obviously results in speed improvements, improved accuracy, which all lead to obviously faster response times and better decision making by the client and the design teams. The revisioning capability means that scope creep can be easily identified and obviously mitigated, and that's achieved by the live links. The BIM capability in software obviously allows a very quick extraction of quantity data, which again allows better decision making and driving out better cost and whole life solutions. So just to talk a little bit about 3D BIM and 2D. In terms of definitions, obviously there are CAD files which could be 2D or 3D. However, a BIM model So BIM acronym, one of the definitions is Building Information Model. Obviously, with that, the interface is graphic, but the objects also contain data such as spatial requirements, constraints, and obviously importantly quantities and relationships. Another definition of BIM is building information modelling, which is obviously the process. So just some of the items listed out there. It allows visualization, allows the models to be interrogated, analysed, allows obviously collaboration, all leading to a sort of better design, better construction process, and obviously a better whole life outcome and optimization. We've seen this chart already. Obviously the UK government has mandated the use of level 2 BIM by 2016. So just some of the process and deliverables with level 2. Obviously there's been quite a lot of talk about the 3D BIM side of things, and obviously COBI's been mentioned. But there's also a requirement for 2D information. For example, where a model isn't perhaps sufficiently detailed, or the model doesn't contain objects or object data for certain items that need to be quantified. So there will more often than not be a requirement to ascertain certain measurement information from 2D drawings. Just in terms of the drawing compilation, obviously there will be the 3D model from which a variety of 2D views can be produced. Those 2D views can then be sort of assembled and compiled directly within the BIM application and obviously be issued. Another way is that they can be exported through to CAD. Obviously the method across the top there would be the preferred method, as it maintains obviously the links from the model, such that when the model's updated, obviously the 2D views and the assembled sheets obviously update as well. Whereas the route down below, obviously once the views have been exported to CAD, that link is then broken to the CAD model. So I'm just going to switch now into CostX and just show some of the key features of how we can extract information from the model, and how we can take a number of 2D measurements. So firstly, I've loaded this model in. This model has obviously the 3D view that you can see here. We also have within the model, within the same model file, it contained a number of the 2D views of the same structure there. So the model itself, obviously it's made up of a series of objects. If I just look at the object properties, we can see here the model has information contained within it, so there's certain descriptive properties together with obviously certain dimensional properties. And within CostX we can harvest this information. So there are a number of ways that we can extract quantity data from the model. We have an automatic process which will just schedule out quantities from the information contained for the objects. We also have a method that we call model maps. Now with the model maps, basically what this allows the user to do is create a customized template with which they can access and abstract the information from the model. So for example, they can choose which property field or fields they want to utilize to generate the quantities into. So that will determine how discretely or otherwise the quantities are extracted. And additionally, the users can determine which of the property-based values they wish to utilize from the model to generate quantities within the CostX system. Additionally, they can also generate and utilize formulas within the model map. So that might allow them to derive quantities which aren't inherently included within the model, but can be calculated from a combination of the other properties. So the model map obviously is comprised by creating a model map entry for the various required nodes within the model tree structure. So when the model map has been produced, we can then import quantity data from the model, and this can be done in a number of ways. Firstly, the user can import data on a sort of selective basis. So, for example, I've isolated the floor items here, and if I just import the quantities at this point, you can see there what that has done is that has created, in this case, 5 dimension groups which detail out the quantities for my various objects which were shown. So that was the floor objects. Of course, if the entire model was displayed, then we can import quantities for the entire model en masse. So this is just running through and pulling in quantities which you'll see appear as dimension groups within the lower left-hand corner here in just a second. So if I just expand out these folders that contain the various dimension groups, we can see here we have obviously the quantity data which has been generated from the model here. Now, in addition, the user can also export a copy of the schedule data into Excel. And within Excel, the user can then add their own properties and their own data to the objects. So in this particular model, I have added data for the likes of the beam depth, beam height, beam width, and such like. When that data has been added within the model, that too can be accessed and used to generate quantity information with the model map. So I've created a model map to utilise that to generate my beam formwork data. So within this model map, so within this model map, I've basically utilised the additional data which I've added to calculate my beam formwork quantity data. So if I now import using that model map, we'll see in a moment we'll get an additional folder which will be created together with the dimension group containing the information I need to quantify my formwork items. So there's my folder, and here we have the dimension group which was created using the additional data which I added to the model. So you can see there from the pop-up hint, I've calculated my beam soffit and my beam formwork data. Now, additionally, because we loaded a set of drawing files, including both the 3D file together with the 2D sheets, what that means is, where we have quantities, let's close the schedule and show all objects. So where we have objects that we've imported from the 3D model, so you can see the objects shaded green there that we imported from this model. Where they exist on any sort of referencing 2D views, such as the ground floor structural plan, that will then display those items on the 2D views as well. And if I switch to the 4-pile cap, it will highlight obviously those items within the drawing file. Now, in addition, it's also possible to measure in a 2D sense as well. So if I just simply create another dimension group here. I'll just call it roof finish. And I'll put it in a folder called roof finish. So here's a dimension group I've created, and if I now want to extract measurement information, I can capture areas, and if I need to make the deductions, I can obviously deduct out those voids as well, which will enable me to obviously generate measurement data directly by measuring from the 2D drawing files. So just in terms of the measurement data that we've generated, this measurement data can then be dragged and dropped and utilised within the workbook system within CostX. So this is a workbook which I've already created. If I just open this up, you can see here obviously I've created a bill of quantities, and I've utilised my quantity data from the model. Now the information is live linked, so from the quantity where it's utilised within the workbook, we can click on the Show Source button, and that will revert us back to the dimension view. It will load the model, and it will display which object that quantity is originated from. Now, in terms of the revisioning side within CostX, let me create a revision to this job. Just call it revision 2. So what we can now do is we can promote the model with the new version. So, for example, when the next iteration of the model is derived, we can load this into CostX as a revision. What this will do, this will initially zero out the quantities for the dimensions that we imported from the previous model file, and we can simply just update those. So this currently is reading through the existing objects that we imported into the previous dimension groups, and it's just updating the quantity information for them. Now, when we have a revision to the model, we can also review the changes, and the changes can be reviewed graphically on screen. So, in just a second, so if I just compare back to the previous revision, what this does is it uses a simple colour system. So, for example, objects which are new in the revised model are highlighted in green. Objects which have been deleted, such as these piles here, are highlighted in red. Anything which has remained the same is highlighted in blue. And we can turn on or off the view of these objects just by using a tick box system here. So we can visually review the changes to the model, as you can see there. Now, to pick up new items, what we can do is we can just run the same process that we utilised initially to generate the original quantities. So this is now just picking up any new objects within the model. So, if I now switch to my costing view, what I can do now, I can simply promote this workbook. And what this will do, this will update the quantities by virtue of the live links. So that value there, the overall value that model, that drawing represents, is increased by, in this case, approximately £30,000. So we can also generate a report. So if I just generate just a top-level report here, and generate, and click on the preview button here. So we can see just from this report here, the piling element has increased by approximately £12,000. The formwork increased by approximately £9,000 there. And we can also review the detail to that information as well. So this is actually now going into the detail changes. So if I just scroll down here, so we can see in the piling here, there's 8,400 in the 400 piles, as we can see there, and we can obviously step through all of the detail and review it. So that's just a little bit on CostX, how we can load models, how we can extract the quantity data from them, how we can additionally supplement measurements from 2D drawings as needed, how when a revision to the model comes along we can very easily and quickly create an incremental revision to our workbook, our costing information. So just one last slide here, just in terms of the CostX roadmap. As you would have seen from the innovation timeline, we're constantly evolving and looking to add features and enhance the product as part of an ongoing development program and in response to customer feedback. We do offer upgrades, and that obviously is in response to the ongoing enhancements and feature additions that we add, together with obviously updating the software sort of regularly to accommodate changes in file types by CAD vendors, advances in BIM technology generally, together with obviously utilising the advances in hardware technology. So part of our sort of corporate objective is obviously to maintain our position as a technology innovator and an industry leader. Thank you very much.